Throughout the 17th century there were numerous plagues across Europe. For instance, London had a plague that was ended by the Great Fire, the Dutch had a plague which sort of started tulip mania, and here in Italy there was the Italian plague around 1630, well 1629 to 1631. And these were more isolated than the Black Death, but they were still very destructive, and I think many people confuse aspects of these 17th century plagues with the Black Death. Anyway, the plague in Italy arrived at the height of the 30 Years' War, so it's believed that foreign mercenaries brought the plague here. It didn't go very far south, but the cities that were affected lost a lot of people. For instance, Bologna, it's believed, lost about 10,000 people. Florence lost 9,000 people, which was 10% of its population. But cities like Milan and Venice lost tens of thousands of people, and Verona lost about 60% of its population. So it's believed this dramatic loss of life within just 2 years was one of the reasons these northern Italian cities lost a great deal of their wealth and prestige and power in the 17th century. But just like during the Black Death, there were no real cures that people knew about. So Venice, for instance, built a huge church, the Santa Maria della Salute, in the hope that it would save the city. And it was during these plagues in the 17th century, in particular the Italian plague and not the Black Death, that the famous plague suit was developed. And interestingly enough, one of the most famous doctors in Italy at the time was an Irishman named Niall O'Blacaine, who got a lot of experience dealing with plague victims in France and Spain. To sort of explain these masks briefly, the beaks are so long because people at the time thought that the plague was spread by bad air, so the doctors put sweet-smelling things like flowers into the beaks in order to protect against the plague, and this mask has since become a bit of a symbol of Venice. However, during the Black Death, there were numerous different ways that people thought to protect against the plague. For instance, they attacked Jews and blamed them for it. But interestingly, early on, huge communities of people started fleeing to the countryside and wandering around Europe, whipping themselves. They believed that by punishing themselves they could gain forgiveness from God, etc, etc, etc. And there were so many people doing this that Pope Clement VI grew worried about this new movement in these communities that he ordered the authorities to put a stop to them. Anyway, since I'm on the plague, I may as well mention one other thing that I found interesting that occurred during the Black Death in large numbers and to a lesser extent during the 17th century plagues. Anyway, during the Black Death, a chronicler named Giovanni Boccalio said that the people of Florence had given up all their possessions and responsibilities and went a bit nuts, essentially. Drinking parties could be found day and night, and there were also reports of orgies. Plus, no one was there to really stop them doing it, so all the old concepts of morality sort of died out during the Black Death. And I said to a lesser extent during the 17th century because the 17th century plague in Netherlands, as I said before, was sort of responsible for tulip mania, and this is because many people just started essentially throwing away their money and acting a bit more carefree because, of course, they didn't know when their time was up.